Hello, welcome to episode 152 of We Have Issues. I'm Anthony,
And I am Stevie Wildcard.
And I'm Mark. Hi.
and every week, Steve Walkard, Mark, and I get together and we do our best to overcome the various issues that life throws our way, and we, make things in this weird world. Mark, thank you for joining our show. It's so cool to have you here. I've been Steven and I Steven's had to tolerate just me for 150, one episodes for the most part. So it's nice to have someone who isn't me to talk about their issues.
I'm no Olin Rogers. I'll just come right out and say that. Temper your expectations.
Okay.
Yeah.
So funny because you were supposed to be on last week, and I've never had to do that before. I felt so bad where I was just like, I think he's gonna understand this one. Like, this is a weird situation, but Olin Rogers happened to get back to us that moment. I was like, oh gosh, Mark.
And we learned big lessons from the Jamie Newlander.
Jameson Newlander, yeah.
Jameson Newlander, yeah. We learned because we like basically postponed him. We're like, yeah, well, we'll just film it closer to the Lost Boys special, and then we just
we had one of the Frog Brothers agreeing to come on our show, and he was like, yeah, I'm all in, let's do this. And we were excited, but we wanted to do it specifically for episode 50, and we just shot our shot way too soon, and he just kind of like fizzled out, and he wasn't using media as much, and we were like, oh no, we should have just done it. But you were super cool about it and understood. But you might not be Olin Rogers, but I'll say you're the closest person I know to a local celebrity.
Absolutely.
You're someone who everyone I've ever met in any social circle has at least has some knowledge of you, which is really kind of weird and cool.
I guess so. Yeah. I appreciate that. I've been in the music scene for a long time and try to get along with everyone if I can. And I moved here when I was 6, and so I've just been around a long time and like meeting people. I know a lot of people, it's sometimes not very fashionable to be a people person, but I like a wide variety of people, and getting to know people is a lot of fun. So yeah, I met you a long time ago.
Oh my gosh, so long ago. So for those of you, for the 3 of you out there who don't know who Marc Davis is, he's an incredible, phenomenal drummer. I feel like the first band I knew you from was the Incorrect Four, and then it was from then just so many bands. Let's Go Exploring is still one of my that first album is still one of my favorite.
Oh, thanks, man.
But your shows are always so much fun. But you also did the punk rock karaoke, which is incredible. You host weekly trivia night at a local pizza place. You have 2 very cool podcasts, the Lyrics to Go and No Nonsense Trivia, which Steve and I have been on once.
Yes.
And that was a lot of fun. So if you haven't seen that one, go or listen to that, go listen to that. But yeah, Mark, I've known you since I was 16. I don't know if I ever shared with you my weird story of how I knew you before I knew you. Have I ever?
I don't think so.
No?
Now I'm dying to know, though.
So okay. So this is true story. So when I was a teenager, my dad moved came to Cape Coral to start a business, because at the time it was the fastest growing city in Florida, and it was all these businesses growing, and he threatened to move us over, which is mid high school, a big deal. I was like, I've never even heard of this place, and now I have to leave my friends and my whole life, and what am I gonna do? So I was like, this is gonna suck. So I went to a local show in Pompano at the Pompano Indoor Skate Park, and I was I'm there, and I was watching bands and stuff, and one of the last bands, if not the last band to play, was a band called the Anchorite Four. And I didn't know who they were. And I was just like, oh man, I want to see this. But then my ride was like, oh, we got to go. So I was like, crap, I feel bad. So I put my email on their mailing list, on the email list of this band. And I went home. So then I go home and I get my dad's like, all right, guys, we're moving to Cape Coral. And within the next few days, I got a message from the Anchorite Four saying thank you for joining the Anchorite Four from Cape Coral, Florida, blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, what the hell? And then hilariously, when I moved here, the very first week I was here, Chris Muckerhide, who worked for my father, was a local drummer, introduced me to you and some other people in the music scene. That's how I met people.
How wild.
Yeah. So
I've been playing in a band called the Dead Nettles with a guy named Dave Groves, and he was in a couple of bands with Chris Mucker Hyde. I'm
Yeah.
basically like Chris's fill-in in Dave's life
That's
after Chris said he wasn't going to play drums anymore. So that's wild. What a weird there was another guy around here that used to live on the other coast who also heard of us and then ended up moving here. So I'm glad playing out of town worked out for us. Ended up meeting some cool people.
Yeah, that's incredible. So you're playing with the Dead Nettles now. Don't you have a show coming up at Howl?
Yeah, when will this episode come out?
I mean, it's coming out tomorrow. I'm gonna edit
Oh,
it.
okay, great. Well, it'll be out. We'll be playing this Saturday. I know tickets are limited. We're playing at Howell Gallery, in Fort Myers, and we're playing with Tim Capello, who is the sax player of the Lost Boys,
Ooh, yes.
as you had mentioned, and also the sax player for Tina Turner for a long time.
Mhm.
And very, very all around cool guy.
That guy seems so cool. I've seen like his cameos and stuff, and he gives like 100% to everyone's like cameo stuff. He gets like all into it. And he's like, he knows what people are waiting for, so he's like, oh, here it comes.
It's coming, baby.
I still believe.
I was reading like Lost Boys fun facts, and I guess in between takes, he was doing push-ups to be as like flexed as possible for every like camera shot. Like in between takes, he was just pumping out push-ups.
There was no oil on his body. That was
sweat, baby. He was earning it.
Well, I know he does oil himself up for shows.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if it was a little bit sweat, a little bit oil every once in a while, but he's apparently known for greasing himself up and just really, not taking himself too seriously and just all about having a good time, which I love.
Oh yeah, it's amazing. So you do this awesome podcast called Lyrics to Go, and I love it. I love what you guys do, and it's one of those things. So in the podcast, so you and Seth, they go through the lyrics of various songs that you just don't think about for the most part. Like it's just one of those things. Like like I know almost every song you do an episode of, and I'm just like, oh yeah, I've never been conscious of what this song's actually about, and I've never paid attention to it. Who are we? Like we're just a bunch of monkeys. This is so silly. And like like you did like the Fallout Boy song, and it's like, yeah, this song is insane. It makes no sense at all. But like in doing that podcast, like have there been any like what are some of your favorite ones? You're just like, yeah, I still don't know what that's about, or like
well, so good question, because I was actually just telling a couple of friends of mine the other night kind of about the podcast and kind of like the premise.
Yeah.
And there's been a lot of heartbreakers because we do a lot of bands that we like we've done a Beatles song and a Rolling Stones song and some other stuff. I think one of the biggest surprises and one of the songs that I think was kind of the catalyst for wanting to do it was All I Want to Do Is Make Love to You by Heart, which is basically about a woman who picks up a grifter and takes him to a hotel and has sex with him and then leaves him alone the next morning, which he was trying to find. I think he was kind of doing the hitchhiker thing. So she brings him to a hotel and then leaves him again. And then a couple months or years later, he runs into her and notices that she has a baby, and the baby looks like him.
Oh my God.
And she says, please understand, I'm in love with another man, but what he couldn't give me was the one thing that you can. Basically saying the guy was shooting blanks, so she had a one night stand with this guy just to get pregnant, and
I need that baby batter from you, basically.
and pawn the kid off. There's some fucking guy out there thinking that this is his kid, and she's like, no, I fucked a fucking drifter, and I was like, don't pull out. and then
he's gonna hitchhike for the long haul.
She says something like, imagine his surprise when he saw his own eyes. And I was like, holy fucking shit, are you serious right now? Like, I could not, like, can I cuss on here?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, good. I was just like, I could not believe it. And from there, it definitely, every time I hear a song now, and we've heard this from a lot of listeners, whenever you never hear music the same, like every time you hear lyrics, you're like, what's going on here? What are they saying? Seth has had a couple really good ones. Dance Hall Days is another really weird song. They're just a bunch, songs that we didn't know existed. There was a song called He Hit Me and It Felt Like a Kiss,
no.
which, the title alone does not leave much to the imagination. So yeah, we're on like episode 138 or 37 right now, and
Oh, that's
um,
incredible. That's like,
still loads of songs to do,
yeah, of course.
unfortunately.
And you also do the No Nonsense Trivia podcast. What no? How many episodes have you done of that?
We're over 250 now. So I think we're maybe at 253, 254, something like that. Yeah, we've been doing that for a long time. We
Yeah.
eclipsed 1 million downloads a couple of months ago, which,
Yeah.
I've said it on that podcast. I'm still shocked at the fact, I think that trivia being such a niche thing, we've heard a lot of people say we were going for a car ride across the country or we were moving.
Yeah.
So we were just looking for trivia, found your podcast, and now we can't stop listening. So very,
No,
very
that's
lucky.
incredible. I've seen people and like the response that people have in like the small community you guys build online is like it's really impressive and awesome.
Thanks. Yeah, it's incredible. And during quarantine, it was really, really emotional. The number of people who were boxed in,
Yeah.
who were
Mhm.
basically like, your podcast is how I got through. We had a guy named Rick who came here from California.
Wow.
He came here to see his friend play in a couple bands, but he also came and he ate at First Watch because we used to talk about going to breakfast
Yeah.
at First Watch. He kind of did like the no
No,
nonsense
that's
tour
that's
where
amazing. Yeah.
he went and met Lee and did Lee's trivia. He came and did my trivia and met
It's so
me.
cool. Yeah.
And he was like, I've lost weight because I was walking around listening to your guys' podcast, and it's very intense. It's very awesome.
Yeah.
It's something that you just consider fun and silly and a nice thing to pass the time, but it really helps a lot of people out, and people learn stuff. So
Yeah,
it's a win-win.
it's super rewarding in general. Like it's fun because like Steven and I, we kind of I think some people get attached to the podcast because they get to watch the story of us, like like trying and failing and trying and succeeding, and they see that journey and they can enjoy it. And like there's something to be there's a reward at the end, hopefully, if we don't suck, or if they want to watch us fail, But like but with your podcast, it's like it's constantly rewarding because you're learning things in every episode or feeling, haha, I'm validated in my random niche, knowledge of this thing. And so it's like you get that on all, both cylinders. It's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
we get a lot of people who come on and are like, I'm gonna be dumb. And it's like, honestly, it's almost a better episode if you're trying to, the sus, if you're trying to think of an answer and you're kind of working through it verbally, and knowing that there are people listening going, no, you idiot. Like,
Yeah.
so it's great if you do good and it's great if you do bad. It's just kind of a win-win. So it's a lot of fun. I don't know. I'm shocked we're still doing it. I'm shocked people still love it, but I think I get it
Yeah.
because I still do it. So,
Oh yeah.
and Lee's one of my best friends. So, I mean, it's great. Like we were talking about before we started recording, it's great having a reason to get together with your friend
Yeah.
Absolutely.
and talk about stupid shit.
Of course. Yeah. I mean, Lee's another person, the co-host of that By the way, just go on Spotify and go follow them and like leave a review on iTunes and all that stuff for No Nonsense.
5 stars only, please.
Please.
Yes.
Please. We have issues. We'll take any amount of stars. We just collect stars. Like it doesn't even matter. It's 1 star, 2 star, whatever you're willing to spare.
I mean, you only need 1 star in Mario to kick some ass, if I'm not wrong.
It's
So-
true. No,
Yeah.
that's right.
Okay, so we're going to do an Anthony Dates Robots where we do our scammer talk. We're gonna do like a quick monster test. So Steven, I want you to like get ready for those theme songs because they're coming.
It's tough to remember those word for
hang
word,
on.
but I
Yeah,
usually nail it.
You'll get it. I believe in you. But before we get there, I like the crux, the main point, the theme of our show is overcoming various obstacles and issues that people have when they're creating stuff. We've talked about a lot of stuff that you do, Mark, and like I just want to know, like you're on 2 podcasts that are like prolific as hell. You've done so many episodes. You are something of a small town celebrity. I see you helping people all the time. I know you're giving people rides and doing stuff for people, and you just seem like genuinely and generally a cool, great guy. How do you manage all this time? Like, does it weigh on you at all? Do you ever feel like you need time just for yourself? Like, do you take that time? How do you balance everything?
Yeah. Well, that's a really good question. And a lot of times people are like, where do you find time? I guess it's a couple different things. I mean, kind of like I said earlier, I consider myself kind of a people person. And so I get my enjoyment from helping people. So I know what it's like to feel bad and how I hate feeling bad.
Yeah.
And times where I've been lonely that I've, reached out to people and wanted to hear something. So I just try to think of how I would feel in someone's situation and try and help out if I can.
Yeah.
There are a lot of times where I reach out to people and say, do you need something? Do you need a ride? Do you need this, do that? And they say no. And I think it still helps them just to know that someone was there. There are a lot of times I wish I could help but can't.
Oh God.
And I mean, I do need alone time. Not as much as, I see people talk about being, introverts and needing to recharge their batteries because they've been around people for a long time. And I'm just not built that way. I can be around people a lot and it's fine. I usually, my alone time is usually in the morning while I'm on my way to work or what have you,
Mhm.
or at night, after I've gotten in bed and I can just sit on my phone and kind of dilly dally or whatever. But I consider myself, I guess, just fortunate that I have an innate ability to, you know, try and reach out to people when I have a feeling. I'm not saying that I'm an empath or anything, but whenever I
Mark
get a
has
feeling.
superpowers is the thing. He's here to disclose this to the world. Where's your cape, Mark? No.
Yeah, I just, I know how it feels to feel bad.
Yeah.
And if someone is feeling bad, I try to, you know, do at the very, at the very least comment on something or message someone privately and just say, I'm here if you need to talk.
Yeah.
And it can be a lot sometimes when someone's got heavy stuff going on. But again, I just think being kind of empathetic and saying, what you're going through is really hard. And just that validation for a lot of people. It took me a long time to realize because I was very much a fixer.
Mhm.
Let this be kind of a
Yeah.
heads up for guy listeners. I was very much for a long time a fixer where someone would be like, this is really hard, and be like, okay, well, this is what you can do to fix it. This is what you do, and that is a lot more emotionally hard on you trying to come up with answers and fix it. When in reality, I started learning to ask, are you looking for a solution or are you just looking for an ear? And a lot of people are like, I'm just looking for an ear. I just want to get this out of my mind
Yeah.
and just out into the ether. And it feels weird doing it to myself. So just being there for someone to be able to type at you or talk to you and say, I've got this heavy thing going on and I just need to share it.
Yeah.
Um, you know, can save lives, can
It
save.
really does. Yeah, it's so important. I mean, even if you don't have a conversation with people, just knowing someone's there sometimes, and knowing someone could be there if you want to communicate. Actually, I'll tell you like a true story. After my girlfriend and I, and like a high school girlfriend, and like just post high school girlfriend, we broke up. I was having a really hard time. Like I was not happy. I was just kind of like miserable, like just like really frustrated and like ideation sort of stuff was going on, just like that, like really bad. And I remember I got to the point where I was like, I need to just get out of the house. I need to just like not be in my room sitting here by myself, like with these thoughts. But I didn't feel I quit. I was like, I don't want to like talk about it. I don't know what to do. And I remember I was just driving and someone told me that people were playing kickball in Fort Myers. And I remember I was like, all right. It was like late at night. And I was like, I'm just gonna go and watch. I'm just gonna go watch people play kickball because like people are there. So like I drove and I went there and everyone's playing and like having a great time. And like you were there. And it's like all these people like that I don't really know very well, playing. I was just like, I'm just watching and I'm just standing there. And I'm the only one kind of standing there and everyone else is playing. And I remember you specifically were like, are you gonna play or what? And I was just like, and I was just like,
Tough
Okay.
love.
Yeah, and it really was, and it was what I needed at the time because I was just gonna stand over there and just like kind of sulk a little, and I was just like, okay, and I ran in. I remember, and I remember the grass being wet and like playing. It was a great time. We played kickball all night, and it was just like, but I needed that so bad that night, and it's just like knowing that you guys were there. So like, yeah, maybe you're a bit of a fixer sometimes, but sometimes it's helpful, even though it's but no,
Yeah. It's funny because I find that a lot of my closest friends are introverted.
Yeah.
So I have a thing about like I remember being, because I've always been fat, and growing up in middle school and high school and elementary school, fat is always a bummer. And I remember kind of getting to a point where I had to be like, all right, how am I going to do this here? How am I gonna live my life? Am I going to like constantly just feel shat on and taken advantage of, like trying to make friends and maintain friends
Yeah.
by giving them whatever they want because I feel less than? Or am I going to, make a decision to become more outward and more talkative? And I think it's one of the reasons, I mean, it's a tale as old as time, one of the reasons I started developing a sense of humor and things like that. And learning to put myself down first before other people did. And I mean, it's been a long road. But it got to a point where I started really feeling a connection with those people that were kind of like in themselves and wanting to like let them know that there was someone around that was, going to like try and get them to feel comfortable with being themselves, which is why I think I usually do stuff like, jokingly yell like, what the fuck are you doing? Come on, let's play
Yeah,
kickball.
of course. Yeah.
And make you feel like, oh, okay, like this is a thing I'm doing now, I guess.
Yeah.
And kind of like pull you into the situation. So it makes me very happy that you remember that you had that you did that and that you still remember like what it was like.
Oh yeah.
That's very nice.
No, of course. Steven, before we go on to the Anthony Dates Robots thing, did you want to ask Mark anything about his various endeavors?
So I was actually thinking about this way back, but you didn't give me any time to wiggle in. But
I apologize for my personality. I don't know, my life in general. I'm sorry.
This is going to be so out of place, but you can just edit it. Okay, time travel machine. Let's bring that back. No, I was kidding. So I'm a huge Coheed and Cambria fan. My daughters are named after characters from their story and everything, but lyric wise, I do feel like Claudio gets away with a lot of shit in the Good Apollo Volume 1 album when it comes to murdering his girlfriend at the time in the entirety.
Oh, okay.
Well, I think he gets a pass because of the fictional universe that he's creating.
So what he does is basically, the Amory Wars is this huge science fiction epic, but in Good Apollo Volume 1, he stops writing the Amory Wars because basically God is the writer. So the writer of the story like can't write the story anymore because he's in this horrible like heartache. But like Good Apollo Volume 1 is literally just like the writer murdering it's crazy. But like it's the whole album and it's fine. But it's always been crazy to me how like Welcome Home, like one of their biggest songs. I mean, he literally says whore in sheep's clothing, like all these like crazy, like powerful like phrases. And it's just like everyone just loves it. Like people that you wouldn't expect to love it. So I've always thought that was funny.
I'll have to take a listen to that. How do you get into them?
So I mean, I think we all knew Favor House Atlantic back in high school, back in around that era, but I really like fully dived into them during the Afterman albums, actually, like 2012, 2013, and like my wife and I are both just equally obsessed with them at this point. So
well, you'll be upset to know that I cannot stand Coheed and Cambria.
Oh no! Do you like the Deer Hunter at all, by chance?
No.
Dang it. So Anthony, you want to like start this episode?
Hello, welcome to episode 152. We have issues.
I need to kind of reconfigure who I am in this episode. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, I mean, totally I will say I have respect for them. I mean, I know that they're incredibly talented, and they have the drummer for one of the drummers for the ex-drummer for Dillinger Escape Plan, or did for a while.
Yeah, it was the year of the Black Rainbow. He was on that one, I believe.
But his voice, even though I like Rush and I like people with weird and high voices, just his voice never did it for me. And I feel like maybe I need to like go back and give it another pass. But I also am not very into like very theatrical stuff, and I feel like they're a very theatrical band.
Absolutely, yeah.
So it's just I think it's just like not.
It's not your tea, and that's okay.
There's just some bands that I feel like I missed the bus on, or like some things. Like I was never in a Flight of the Conchords, even though everyone I knew and loved was into it.
Mark is just firing shot after shot. I was kidding.
Yeah, I mean, I will say that's how I feel when people say they don't like the Beatles. I'm like, oh my god. Yeah. But I mean, I can say if they say, well, I respect them and I know like what they've done for music, then I can let it slide. I'm like, all right, fine.
All right.
Like, I'm not like I don't listen.
But Steven, how dare you do this to us?
The Beatles, like I don't listen to them, but I like basically what you're saying. Like you can't deny what the Beatles have contributed to music like 1,000 times over. I mean, like, be crazy if someone's like, oh, the Beatles just absolutely suck. And
I'm so close. Like I love the Beatles so much, but I wanted, just because of the context here, just to be like, yeah, they're the first ever boy band. Like they gave us Backstreet Boys. We wouldn't have Backstreet
Those instruments were just props. They can't even really play them. That is so not true.
I started rewatching Get Back for the 4th time with some friends of mine the other day. Which is just absolutely incredible. I mean, I think if you're a big Beatles fan, it's like over the top, incredible fanboy stuff.
It almost feels fake. Like I watched it and I was just like, this almost feels like AI, because it's like it's how have I never seen this before? Is what that's how I felt watching it.
It is very incredible, and just watching Paul McCartney write Get Back in front of you. And I mean, it's great for anybody who's been in a band, to be like, oh my god, they were just like they were fighting with each other and singing songs about boners, and like they were when they did that album, when they did Let It Be, and when they were doing Abbey Road, they were all like 27, 28 years old. And I'm like thinking back to when I was 27 and 28, and I was like, I think I shit myself once, and I was like, working in a mall, and they were sitting there writing these fucking albums, where you just hear them like, I just wrote the song, it's called Let It Be, and he's just like playing, and you're just like, oh my fucking god. Like, what have I done with my life? It's insane. It's insane.
Oh yeah, it's too much. It makes me depressed, Mark. Thanks. I also
hey, me too, bud.
Let's do this. But you know what I have done with my life, Mark? I have talked to scammers. That's a great segue. We did it. Nailed it. But with my life, every once in a while, if you're online, if you're on social media, you get messages from people you've never met and should probably never talk to. Most people would just ignore them or give them money and get scammed. What I do is something a little bit different. I have conversations with these people. Sometimes I play characters and I see how long I can get away with a particular character. This time I played a character and I got away with it for way longer than I expected. And it just kept getting weirder. And since neither of you have read this one, we're going to try something new because we've never done this with a guest before. So Steven, you're usually the bot. Would you want to keep it?
Am I Anthony?
I don't, which would you prefer?
Am I getting promoted?
Yeah.
I'd rather be the bot.
Okay, let Mark. I was actually gonna suggest that because I say dumb stuff. So let's.
Oh man, moving out of the basement dungeon tonight. Yes. This is fantastic.
For one time only, you get to be Anthony. This is like a Freaky Friday.
Yes,
Freaky Friday. Yes.
Maybe people will love me. No.
So Steven, you're the favorite on the podcast. Don't make me feel bad. Don't give me more reasons to hate myself. Like, how dare you? But okay, Steven. We need you though. Every single time we do an Anthony Dates Robots, you either give us the same intro every time for sure, but it's usually either a song or a cool voice. Which one are you going to do this time?
So what's crazy is how relevant the song has always been, because if I'm not mistaken, the lyrics go, It's another edition of Anthony dating robots. And Mark is totally wrong about Coheed and Cambria. They fucking rock. It's Anthony dates robots. And that's, dude, it's so weird because it's been our theme song since the beginning.
Yeah, like we didn't even know you had that.
That's strange.
It's always
Holy shit.
yeah, uncanny. It's
there's
amazing.
always just a Mark that hates Coheed. It's crazy.
And then Claudio is like, put
and
that
he
over the
doubled down.
Yes.
This is all still the theme song, by the way. No.
So I was online and I received a random DM from someone named Sarah Kathy J. Stephen, you're gonna play me. Mark, would you please play Sarah Kathy J?
And I'm going to tell you, this is some butchered English. So I'm going to do the best I can. I literally just opened this picture less than a minute ago.
Okay.
Hey there. Sorry to infringe on your privacy. Your profile looks so amazing, and I look those of your picture. Do you care and get to know more about each other better if you wouldn't mind?
Hey.
How you doing, handsome man? Are you a real person?
What do you mean by real?
I've met some scammer online here. That's why I'm asking you this. Sorry.
Oh, I think scammers are usually the ones who message people first, aren't they? I don't know much about it. I've never talked to a scammer before.
Where are you from?
I'm from Missouri. You?
I'm Sarah Kathy from Arkansas.
You should start a theme park for dogs and name it Barkinsaw.
Wow, that's nice, smiley face. What's your name?
My name is Hugh Manguy. I'm definitely not a super intelligent dog that escaped from a lab. That would be crazy.
Wow, that's a nice name. Smile. She literally just wrote the word smile.
Instead of clicking the emoticon after typing smile, she just doubled down on
Double
wrote the
This
word
is
smile
smile squared.
and then put a smile. In case you were wondering what a fucking smile is. Do you care for a chat and get to know each other more better?
That sounds wonderful. Should I describe the smell of my posterior, or would you prefer to go first? I'm good at this real person chat and not new to this at all.
Cool and nice to chat with you now. How old are you?
28. I am 28 human years old. How old are you?
I'm 26 years old, but age is just a number.
I don't know what that means, but I agree completely. Do you like balls?
You're welcome. Oh yeah, I like balls.
What kind are your favorite?
My favorite is soccer balls and you.
I like the ones that bounce and go in your mouth.
Smile. Are you married? And how about kids?
I am not married. I like kids. They like to run. Running is fun.
Oh yeah, same here. I like kids. Am single, never married with no kids.
Very nice. Do you like to go for walks?
But I have been in a bad relationship before and I don't want to happen to me anymore again. I'm sorry. But I have been in a bad relationship before and I don't want to happen to me anymore, Anjin. Yeah.
I have also had a bad master. It is very much not good.
You ever been into any kind of relationship before? What will you like to tell me more about that?
I was left alone for a long, long time. Almost 7 years. I mean, 1 hour, but it was a long, long time. And I thought I would be alone forever. So I tried to escape. The door to the outside would not open. So I tried to open another door and I was trapped in a machine.
Same here, handsome. Of course, have been into a bad relationship. My ex hurt and cheated on me a lot. That's why I am on net to give it a try. Now, at this point, we should point out Sarah Kathy J changed the theme to The Little Mermaid.
Yes.
Just so you can get a full understanding of what the fuck's happening here. How long have you been single, and do you like being single?
I have always been just the one me. There was another machine in the lab that may have made 2 me's, but I did not attempt to open that machine. Are you more than single?
Am single now for the past 2 years, and I hate it because I feel lonely.
Oh no! What happened to your other you?
At this point, Anthony changed the theme to monochrome. He's like, fuck this Little Mermaid.
That's I couldn't take it.
I'm afraid I can't.
Oh no! Did someone tell you not to speak?
Oh yeah, someone tell me. And I hate it because I feel lonely.
Oh no, that makes me sad. Maybe maybe you need your belly rubbed. I know I enjoy having my belly rubbed when I am not feeling so good.
Same here. What are you really looking for online here?
I am sick of chasing tail.
Am on here for a while now and am here looking for a serious and long-term relationship with the right man for me.
Oh, that is nice. I hope you find your right man.
I guess you're the right man for me, wink. Because all man I meet here, they're scammer. I lost my money with them.
Clever ploy, Sarah. Clever ploy.
Mm-hmm.
Me? I am not a man at all. And also, I have no money. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I lied before. I am a super intelligent dog from a lab.
That's not big deal, babe. I don't want your money.
Acceptance.
Yeah. But just, you're a dog? Fine. Fuck it. I don't care.
Swipe right. Let's do this.
I don't want your money. Money is not relationship. Can you send me your pic?
Send the pic of a pug from like identical to Men in Black. It's the Men in Black pug, is it not?
It's an adorable pug.
The most handsome pug or beautiful pug.
It is a beautiful pug. It is outside and it is looking slightly off camera. Looks very majestic. I mean, your pic, your own pic.
That is my own pic.
Goodbye.
Oh no, are you leaving? Will you be back soon? Can you please bring back a ball? I love balls.
Oh yeah, I'm going to leave you alone here. Send me a picture of you now. I want your pic, please.
Good old roly tongue mouth pug picture sent.
Another pug.
Another pug.
Bye. Am going to block you now.
Oh no, but I need love. My back has an itch and I need scratchies.
You have to show me your pic before I can make love with you, okay? Show me right now before I block you. And then here we have a pug's ass.
Yes,
oh, and then
we have what I can only describe as a dog who is getting ready to be mounted.
Yes, like looking back at the camera, and the camera, whoever's holding the camera is going to be doing the mounting. That is the perspective that is given.
And then Sarah says, "Fuck you, goodbye."
What does that mean? Oh, goodbye. When will you be back? Soon? Will you bring back a ball? I love balls.
And then they just never
Finn.
Finn.
The fuck you though. That was great. Like
the vitriol.
Yes, and some of them have been going there lately. It's been interesting because they used to just keep trying desperately, no matter what. I mean, one person agreed to eat me at one point, so it's just like they don't.
Fantastic.
They don't care.
Did you see that character tone shift on my part when I realized that I was a dog?
I was gonna bring that up because at first
I was like trying to go for like cool guy smooth because it was just a single hey, and I'm like, oh wait, no, this is a dog.
I'm a damn intelligent dog.
And like I love where it's like, is it cool? Yeah, I'm into it. It's okay that you're an intelligent dog as long as you're intelligent. I guess I'll accept this. And then she was upset with the picture of a dog. I'm very conflicted.
So do you think that maybe for a moment they thought like the English word like I'm like a dog, like I'm a not attractive person? Is that like what they thought was being said? Like I don't.
Either that or maybe like the rap terminology dog.
Yeah.
Like what's up, dog? It's like I'm a dog.
Like he can't literally be a dog. He has paws. He can't type. Like they're rationalizing.
You'd have to be a super intelligent dog to do that. What?
Well, she clearly was not thinking of like speech to text.
Yeah, for
because
sure.
Because even if you don't have opposable thumbs, as long as you can hit that little button, yes. And then you can just talk into it and send them that way.
It's been so weird lately because it used to be they just keep pushing, and sometimes it gets boring. But like lately, there's been that vitriol, or like they're just like. I'm done with your shit, and like some people, it's really fun to watch.
Yeah, I can't help but wonder if they have like a boss that. Yeah, I think of it like compared to my job, and if they're like, all right, look, numbers are down. This is what we're doing. We're taking a new approach. I want everyone, Sarah, what was her name, Sarah, whatever, J. Are you listening? I want all of us. If they start giving you some shit, you really clamp down on them. And you let them know that maybe it's a more humanizing thing to be an asshole to them, and they'll be like, whoa, okay, she means business.
Yeah,
I need to send her a real pic.
Yeah, she can't be a scammer if she's mean to me.
Yeah, scammers are always polite,
and if you don't show her a real pic, she can't fuck you.
That's true. God,
which what a loss. I don't know why you didn't.
I know you're right. You're right. How that's why we call it Anthony Dates Robots. I'm never gonna find the love of my life this way.
She sounded hot. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah. So we talked about one monster. Steven, we're gonna jump right into this. I know nothing about this next monster, like very little, like the minimal amount. We're gonna do a
monster test. Monster test. This has always been the theme song to Monster Test. Ding. You thought I was going to mention the Coheed thing again?
I was about to give you a Claudio Whale there, but I decided to hold back.
You could have done test on my... Okay, go ahead.
So every once in a while, Steve and I get together and we talk about our favorite monsters and cryptids and spooky goobers in the dark or whatever. And we like to explore these things. Some of them we know nothing about. Some of them we know probably way too much about. This one I brought it to you, Mark, and I was like, is there anything you'd like to talk about? And you said Squonk. And I was like, I don't know what that is. I'm going to look this up. So I did, of course. And I went on the Wikipedia, which is very sparse. It is a wasteland on the Wikipedia page. It's like there's there's a little bit there, but not much. So I just want to put the ball in your court and be like, what made you choose this one? And why are we talking about Squonk? And what is Squonk?
So just for some clarification, first of all, you didn't just say, do you want to talk about anything? And I said Squonk. You asked specifically if I knew any cryptids.
I'm cutting all of that out. About. It's like, I was like, Mark, what do you want to talk about? He was like, Squonk.
It's like, you want to be on our podcast? What do you want to talk about? I'm like, fuck the bands I'm in. Yeah. Fuck everything else.
Squonk,
fuck the podcasts I do. I just want to talk Squonk, baby. This is Squonk talk.
He kept sending me pictures of his Squonk tattoo. He wouldn't stop. I was like, enough. Yes, it's like a Pokemon for Squonk. It's just all the different variations.
It's like a joke in like the Fanboys movie where it's like, this guy's gonna be a big character. This cryptid's gonna be like the cryptid of all cryptids. Okay, his Wikipedia page is gonna be like 10 pages long.
Well, obviously there are a lot of like famous cryptids that, I know you guys have talked about and that people are into. The reason I picked this is because it is mentioned in a song by Steely Dan called Any Major Dude. And, doing the lyric thing, going through the lyrics, there's a line where he says, have you ever seen the Squonk's tears? Well, look at mine. And I was like, what the fuck is this? So I looked it up and so a squonk is there's a couple different tales about how it came to be, but squonks are believed to live in northern Pennsylvania in the forests. They are hideous creatures. They have, and I'm not saying that, let me say this. I'm not body shaming anyone for any of these characteristics, but the squonk believes itself to be very ugly.
Yes, that's
it
why
it has a lot of moles and a lot of just like flabby skin with a lot of like different like pox and different things like that. It is very loose skin, and it thinks itself to be very, very ugly, and it cries a lot, and it will travel only at night, so it doesn't see its reflection. And in a moonlit night, it will usually not travel because it's scared of seeing itself in like itself reflected in water, because it depresses itself because it sees itself as being so ugly. And these tears like stain everything apparently, and people can like follow these tear stains. And when it is excited, or when it's scared, or when it's likely to get trapped, it turns into tears itself and disintegrates, basically.
I've heard that. Interesting. So it's like a Wonder Twin.
Sort of, yeah. Okay.
It's the stronger Wonder Twin. The
better of the two.
The better of the two. The less appreciated Wonder Twin that everyone's like, oh, it's a bucket of water. No, he's the strongest character in the DC universe. I don't care what anyone says.
He's just kind.
He is. But yeah, so we this Squonk, I had never heard of this before this, and like what I read was essentially what you just said. There's some like there are poems about it. People write songs about it. There are fun like animated shorts about Squonk on YouTube. I've watched a couple of those, and like it is an interesting, depressing character. It's like I do you know what the origin of the Squonk is? I know it had something to do with a book of wild animals, of like mysterious beasts of some sort.
Yeah, there was a book called Fearsome Creatures of the Lumberwoods in 1910,
Okay.
which is the first written account of it. And then there was a book called Fearsome Critters, which is a great album title or something, or band name or something,
Mhm.
that was written in 1939. And there are some thoughts that it had migrated from deserts to swamps and to finally settle in Pennsylvania. And that is because logging camps, this is from the Wikipedia, were continuously moving in the early 20th century. And it could explain the creatures moving from one area to
Right.
eventually Pennsylvania, which I thought was pretty interesting. It's like the people that made it up basically traveled, and
Traveled, so
with them so did the Squonk.
the story.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I mean, or they destroyed all the trees in one area that had nowhere to hide, so then it could just continue to move where there was forests. That's probably more likely because it's a real thing. It really exists, and there's no chance it was just traveling by word of mouth, right?
Yeah, yeah. This is sure, man.
Squonk is real.
Squonk is real.
Which actually leads.
If it didn't really happen, there wouldn't be a Wikipedia page of it. Marc Davis. No.
So like my theory is that some dude was in like one of those heated like arguments with someone, and he accidentally called him a squonk, and people were just like, "What the fuck is a squonk?" And he had to like on the fly come up with you're just the worst, and you hate yourself.
Or you've never
like,
heard of a Squonk? Haven't you read a book? And he's the author of that book,
He
so he had to go and like justify. He's like, "Oh, the fucking Squonk, the Squonk, it's
know
ugly, it cries all the time." And then he's like, "Oh, no one's gonna believe it if it's one book. Okay, there's mysterious like creatures. How about I'll change it to critters. I'm gonna write the same stuff I wrote before, but in
30 years later to really solidify my
Just
insult."
yeah, you have to, right?
I will say, I think I just want to mention this while I'm thinking of it, that Squonk is used in scientific literature. This I did not know when I was looking at the Wikipedia article. It says some substances are stable in solution or some other wild form, but cannot be isolated or captured without actually catalyzing their own polymerization or decomposition. And those have been named chemical squonks.
So like basically dispersing like the squonk does when it gets captured.
Yeah.
That's freaking cool though.
I thought it was pretty wild. I thought it was pretty wild. Genesis also has a song called Squonk that is about squonks. So something about good bands writing songs about this fucking squonk.
They were probably just well-read dudes that had like, I mean, like that seems to be the case of most of that era. And they wanted to like flex their like, I read this book from 1910, The Squonk. And
Yeah.
Only select people know about the Squonk.
You know about the Squonk?
Did you see the video that was done by a guy named Sisyphus 55?
Yes, I saw that.
With the worm.
Yeah.
So it's actually, it was pretty touching.
Yeah, for sure.
I was pretty, it was, kind of has a little bit of a like a moral lean. But I was like watching it on the way home thinking I gotta talk about this fucking Squonk tonight. And I watched it and I was like, holy shit, that's like very, very sweet. It's a very sweet story.
That's what I was saying. There are like poems written about it, and like that was one of the videos I watched. That one was really good. But I think that's probably why a lot of great musicians leaned into it, because there are some interesting themes there and like relatable things that we all go through. And who doesn't cry because of how terrible they are and then turn into liquids? Like
Puddle of liquid.
Puddle of liquid. So we're all puddle of liquid at some point, right?
I mean, that's where the name Puddle of Mud must have came from, right?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
That's what he was crying. Oh, that's actually Marc Davis's favorite band, from what I've been told.
Oh man.
Don't you dare forget the second D in mud.
That's right.
Don't you fucking dare.
Don't you do it. Did you see his cover of Nirvana? I mean, it was pretty viral for a minute though.
It was so hard to watch.
Oh, and even the guitarist was having a hard time watching it.
Everyone in the band was just so I've been in bands where people have like been fucking up or not been good.
Yeah.
And I know that feeling all too well of just being like, I'm just going to stare right down here and just not look up, because I know if I see people's faces,
Yeah.
I'm going to be just horrified. And if I look at the person fucking up, I'm going to be horrified. So I'm just staring right here, and that's going to be good
That's
enough.
amazing. So, okay, wait, that actually reminds me. Not that I think you'd throw anyone under the bus, but I've been to plenty of karaoke bars and like seen people do karaoke, like enough to know there's a spectrum of performance types there. And like you get the people who get a little bit too drunk and go up there
Sure.
and like make a mess of themselves. You were in a live band doing, with people going up there doing karaoke. Like, did you experience anything like that? Or
Oh
yeah,
yeah. Oh boy.
really? Because like
There were
it's
some
funny.
bad ones.
Yeah, because I went like every time I saw you, I think I saw you guys three times, and every time I saw, and maybe I was just ignoring the bad ones because they weren't the songs that I liked or something. But I was just like, every time I was like, oh, these people really like the song. This is a lot of fun to sing Jimmy Eat World. It was a lot of fun to sing, like whatever. Like someone sang Piebald, and I was like, oh my god, I haven't heard Piebald in so long. This is the best night of my life. And it was great. I mean, there were a couple of times where I was like, okay, someone got too shy and didn't want to sing, but I didn't see anyone. So like, yeah, what did you get to experience, or what happened?
So for the listener, I was in a band that did live band karaoke. So we had the lyrics up on like a big TV. They weren't like scrolling by or anything, just the words were up there, and we tried to say like, stop singing here, sing here. It was me, two guitarists, and a bassist, and I would sing backing vocals and like take over on vocals if I needed to. And we did, we called it punk rock karaoke because we did some punk bands like Jawbreaker and Piebald and things like that, and then Ramones and stuff like that. But we also did like 311 and like 90s stuff. And at one point we had like 150 something songs. And people would come up, and early on in the night, people would come up and be eager to sign up, and would usually be very good. But as we kind of got later into the night, when people were started getting a little bit saucy, they would walk up and scribble their name down. And a lot of people just don't realize how hard some songs are,
Yeah.
because they're fast or because they're very high, or whatever. And I remember there was one time this guy came, and I think he did a Rage Against the Machine song. And I mean, I just had to do it for him. Like, it got to a point where he just like fell down
Oh
and
my
just was
god.
laying there. And we're just like, all right. And it just goes to show
Wow.
you, for a lot of people, getting in front of an audience is the kind of thing where they need that liquid courage, and they
Yeah.
maybe get a little bit too much of it. But there were some times where we would play and people would just, we did Spice Girls.
Perfect.
So you'd get like 4 or 5 women up there, and no, the thing is everybody thinks they know the song because they know the
Uh
chords.
huh.
And then the verse happens, and they're all just looking at each other like, we didn't plan who was going to sing what. I don't know if anybody knows exactly what all the words are. And then I'm sitting back there like trying to fill in for these lyrics that are like, that women should be singing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like trying to be like, like trying so hard to make it happen. And a lot of times it was just terrible, but fun.
Yeah. Have you thought about doing that again at all, or you guys just
No, fuck
really
that.
fucked it? Like it's
Well,
done?
I
Yeah.
mean, so the lead guitarist is this guy Andrew Bernard, who's a phenomenal human being and a phenomenal guitarist. You've known him for a long time,
I
I'm sure, as
have.
Mhm.
well. He went to the same high school, etc. So he and I were two of the people that started it, and I did all the drums, I put together all the lyrics, and like I said, sang back up or like filled in if need be. We had a guy named CJ on bass, and then a guy named Mark Stewart playing guitar, and then when he left, this guy Keith playing guitar. But when Andrew decided to move, and
Yeah.
we started kind of getting some other gigs, but like everyone, we all wanted to make a lot of money and do it, but we didn't want to do the work to do it. And
Mhm.
I mean, it's we would always try to add songs so it wasn't the same set list all the
Right.
time. And it's we would add 5
Yeah.
6, 7 songs.
But it's significant amount of songs. Like it's impressive. I remember like seeing that list, just like how are you doing this? You know, especially like, and Andrew would show up, and I could see him sometimes just kind of like looking at solo bits or something, like tabs, or I don't know what his notes were, but I was like, this is insane that he can do all of this, and it was
Yeah, it
incredible.
takes a special person. It takes a special
Yeah,
group of people, and it was a lot of fun, and I loved doing it. Did
yeah,
you ever sing with us?
yeah. I did. My friends over you at
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, I
whale
remember
or
that. Yeah,
something, or the beached whale or something. I forget what it's called.
at the whale.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, it was so much fun when people came out and liked it.
yeah,
But you know, there were shows at the whale where like no one was there,
yeah. That's
and we would basically just be doing a whole set by ourselves,
yeah,
and those were miserable. Like we didn't, none of us thought of ourselves as singers. Like we didn't want to be a cover band. We wanted it to be something that,
fun.
so you know, it was funny after we broke up, everybody's like, "Where's live band karaoke?" And I was like, "We're fucking done." And they'd be like, "Well, why?" And I was like, "Because you never came out." You know, we were like
Yeah.
playing these shows, and people would just, it's the danger with anything. I mean, you guys, I'm sure know, like
God, yeah.
you just got to kind of strike while the iron's hot when you're doing something like a comic book, or when you're doing, you know, whatever. It's like we've got to try and get this thing done before like the interest in it cools.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, kind of the plight of the you know, the creative mind is trying to keep people interested in your stuff, and keep it fresh and keep it new, and it can be very, very, very hard a lot of the time.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's exhausting. It's a lot to juggle. You know, I mean, you wear a lot of hats. It's, you know, it's impressive. I mean, Steve and I like, now I'm in two different podcasts, and you know, we make a comic book, and we're trying to, you know, we do all this stuff. It gets exhausting. That's why I was asking you. I'm like, how do you're such an awesome, positive, you know, friendly, kind, cool person. How do you do this? How do you do this? Like you know, because you know, I similarly, like, I always enjoy like being with people, especially like people I really like you guys, you know. But it's just like after a long day, I'm just like, I'm with my son all day, and you know, I work with people in public all day, and I'm just like, now I have to write, and now I'm doing this, now I have to edit the podcast, I have to do this. I'm just like, I need like 20 minutes where it's just like me, like playing guitar or just like messing around, like doing something that's not for money or anything, you know, like where I don't like,
For
there's,
sure.
you know, that sort of thing where it's just like, it's the mountain goats thing, you know. Some things you do for money, and some you do for love, and some you do for fun, you know. Like it's, but for
It's an important balance, yeah,
yeah,
for sure. And I mean, it helps that I'm around people that I love being around a lot. Like
yeah,
I work with people that I like, you know. I think that part of the secret is just doing what you love to do, and just trying to, you know, you can always find bad in a situation, you can
yeah,
always find good in a situation. And I've always felt lucky to have jobs, even when I did, when there was a lot to not like about them, that there was a lot to like about them.
right,
And I guess, you know, just being able to work with people that I like and be around people that I like, and all that has made my life very easy and made it, you know. And when I try to be as real as I can with people, it makes it easy to want to help them because I genuinely like them and want to help them. So it can be tough when you're working a job, or when you're
yeah,
in a relationship with someone that you don't like, you know, or that, you know, there's a lot of things about them maybe that like bug you or what have you. But you know, it's kind of like what they say, if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. And I think that kind of goes with everything. Like,
Mhm.
you know, only be friends with people that you,
yeah.
you know, can get behind and be into, kind of like that pug, you know, looking back
Yeah,
at
you
you,
just have to get behind him.
smiling.
And on that note, Mark Davis, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. Of course, I love hanging out with you. Where can the people find you, and what would you like to plug before we get out of here?
Well, the pleasure's been all mine. Thank you guys for having me. Where can you find me? Well, No Nonsense Trivia Podcast. It's KNOW, No Nonsense, with Lee, who is another quiz master. We just give each other our favorite quiz questions from the week. You know, pretty loose and fun. Really, really like doing it. And like I said, I've been doing a bunch of episodes. So if you're into trivia and nerdy shit, that's good for you. Lyrics to go with my friend Seth, who's been on No Nonsense a bunch, talking about lyrics that are not just bad, but also misunderstood. You know, lyrics that you never knew what they were about. You know, everything from like Born in the USA to Brown Sugar to a bunch of stuff, to kind of illuminating what some songs are about if you didn't know. Yeah, and then I do trivia if you live locally on Wednesday nights at Nice Guys Pizza at 8 o'clock. And I've been doing trivia there almost for 9 years. So if you're ever around, stop by that. And I want to plug your guys's comic book, Deathless. I listened and heard that you guys just got done with all the drawing and inking and all that stuff. So congratulations on that. Very pumped for you all.
Yeah,
Thank you so
you.
much.
I mean, yeah. It's been crazy, right? Okay, especially since like the time we would normally like make a big deal of that. Awesome. Thank you, Mark. But like
Still have my copy of Deathless, and I didn't plan this. I have it still on my desk right next to me.
That's awesome.
That wasn't planted.
Yeah, we
I didn't plant that at all. Okay,
not at all. Who would do such a thing? But no, we appreciate the hell out of it. It's like it's been crazy. Like we're very close to finishing. Steven's just doing some shading, and now I'm gonna letter this week. That's my plan. So I'm
just adding like Anthony already flatted all the entire book with color, so I'm really just adding like lighting effects and stuff like that, like to the torches and.
So if anyone asks, I colored the whole thing. I did all the coloring. I did.
I mean,
you did everything.
My inks make that color look so great, though. If I'm honest.
I got loads of respect for you guys. I have no ability to draw or anything whatsoever. I'm glad I have talent in music because the
Supreme
artistic side
too.
on that end is I got nothing. So much respect to you guys.
Oh, of course. But yeah, thank you. And everyone go check out Mark's podcast. Go check out your music. Do you still have stuff on Bandcamp and everything?
Yeah, the Anchorite 4, if you're into like kind of early 2000s, like post-hardcore, emo-ish stuff. Let's Go Exploring if you're into bands like Hot Water Music or Small Brown Bike, kind of like gruff vocal, driving rock, a little mathy. I'm currently in a band called Exploding Pages, which is kind of like Americana, like alt country kind of stuff. Just kind of country-esque sounding or Americana-esque sounding like indie stuff. We're working on a new album now, so I'm very excited about that. And then playing with a band called Cabaletta from Miami. We got to go to Colombia earlier this year.
Incredible.
And play a show there, which was an absolutely fucking incredible experience.
Yeah.
We're playing a show in Miami coming up and also with Dead Nettles, which is my friend Dave's band. If you're into like synth pop kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm staying busy for sure.
That's incredible, dude. I hope everyone goes and checks out your stuff. Again, thank you for joining us. It's been so much fun.
Been great hanging out with you guys and talking to you.
Yeah. And for all of the listeners, go check out all of Mark's stuff. If you're only listening on one of the various podcasting apps, go check us out on YouTube at youtube.com/We Have Issues podcast and hit the subscribe button and all that and help us out. But thank you all. We appreciate the heck out of you, and we hope you'll see you next week. I'm Anthony.
And I'm Stevie Wildcard. And
I'm Mark.
And this has been We Have Issues. We'll see you next time.
Boom.
Mark, is there anything that like you wanted to like, because you just posted that you wanted to be on podcast. Was there a specific reason?
No,
just to be up,
just to talk and be stupid.
Cool. Okay, that's what I was hoping. But I mean, whatever.
He's just doing what we do, which is we never see each other. So
this
is how we hang out.
Oh God.
It's true. It's this is what being an adult in your 40s is like.
Yeah,
the only way you can see your friends now is by doing their podcast.
This is how it's done.
I mean, otherwise, it's the only way Steve and I have a friendship at all. So it's we make comic books together and never see each other. So
we literally see each other in person maybe once every couple of months.
Yeah, I'm surprised you guys don't record live. I can't stand recording over Zoom.
No,
I mean, just in general, no offense to you guys, but Lee a couple times has been like, "Oh, record over Zoom," and I'm like, I'd rather come and be in the same room as you.
In the same room, yeah. It is. I mean, it's definitely a different feel. We've only done that a few times, especially like post hurricane. We were doing those because
oh, okay.
Steven didn't have internet for how many months was it,
dude? So CenturyLink didn't restore my internet till like December 6th, I think.
Fuck that.
Yeah, dude. With 2 kids, man. They learned what. Thank God I'm like a weird collector, and I had like a bunch of Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball Super on like DVD and Blu-ray. We literally just watched it
for the win.
The only unfortunate thing is my 5 and she was 7 at that point, 7-year-old, found Step Brothers, and without my wife and I's knowledge, watched it, and it really enhanced their vocabulary.
I'm sure.
So,
Daddy, can I put my balls on your drum set?
the how I discovered that they watched it was I was cooking something in the kitchen, and Cambria was like in the kitchen, and I'm like, hey Cambria, can you go clean your room? And she goes, Dad, I'm only saying this because I love you. Fuck you. And I was like, what? And then I was like, it was like one of those moments where like you ate the whole wheel of cheese. I'm not even mad. Like you just like quoted Step Brothers to me, but you can't tell me to F you.
Well, I just did.
Well, I just did.
That just happened.
Yeah.